We begin the story not from the prison walls, but from strange rumors that no one can verify. Alcatraz, an island thought to be forgotten, hides an unsolved story. A spacious place, located in the heart of San Francisco Bay, famous not only for its harshness, but also for the mysteries surrounding the ghosts lurking in that space. Alcatraz is not a place for the weak. This is where the most dangerous criminals in American history lived their final days. But does anyone wonder if the ghosts of those imprisoned really exist? Or is it just a product of imagination, scary stories woven over generations? One day, a group of explorers arrived at Alcatraz Island. They had heard strange noises at night, shadowy figures and screams coming from within the cold walls of the prison. But the bigger question remains. Are these things real, or just hallucinations in this surreal space? Over the years, Alcatraz has been the inspiration for countless mysterious stories. One of the scariest stories is about former prisoners. It is said that after being detained at Alcatraz, many of them mysteriously disappeared, leaving no trace. Stories of famous prison escapees like Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers make Alcatraz even more mysterious. The story begins in the summer of 1962, when three famous criminals planned to escape from Alcatraz prison. They dug tunnels from their cells, using pieces of paper and other items to make fake head models to fool the guards. That night, they escaped, but despite a months-long manhunt, they were never found. Many years later, people still cannot explain their disappearance. Some believe they died while escaping, others believe they survived and escaped successfully. But one thing that makes people unable to stop thinking is that after this event, there were many reports from other prisoners saying they heard strange noises, footsteps in the quiet hallways, even though there was no one in the cell. These stories make people ask, are the souls of prisoners forever unable to escape Alcatraz? At this point, the story has begun to return to more mysterious elements, not just unexplained events, but supernatural phenomena happening around this island. Witnesses have told stories of shadowy figures, laughter, and sighs of unknown origin. There was a prisoner who lived at Alcatraz. When asked about strange events, he recounted, "Late one night, I saw a shadowy ghost moving along the hallway from cell to cell. I heard a voice but couldn't recognize who it was. I tried calling a guard, but no one answered." This story is one of countless unexplained accounts from people who once lived on this island. It doesn't just stop at strange sounds. There are also signs of souls that never escaped, entangled in this space, as if Alcatraz had become an eternal home for them. Survivors who escaped from prison said they could not forget the feeling of invisible eyes watching them every step of the way. And this story has never had a satisfactory explanation. Alcatraz Island is not only famous for its gruesome deaths, but also for its haunting stories of escapes. One of them is the story of a prisoner who was attacked by another murderer during a fight at the prison. But strangely, he inexplicably survived. Doctors said he had to die on the spot, but after being taken to the hospital, he miraculously recovered, without any life-threatening injuries. Others said they felt death approaching, as the air around them became heavy, difficult to breathe, and sighs served as a warning. These stories make people start to wonder if these prisoners really escaped death, or are they just part of a larger story that we cannot yet explain. Although Alcatraz has been closed and become a famous tourist resort, there are still many people who believe that its deep secrets have not been revealed. One of the strangest things is the silence that covers this island. Even though thousands of people have visited Alcatraz, no one can explain why it feels as if the island is watching you. Strange signals from electronic devices, unexplained signs in photos taken from specific areas of the prison. These are all signs that make people even more curious about what has not been said. The story of Alcatraz never really ends. Its secrets are still intact, hidden in old walls and dark corners where no one dares to set foot. Is everything we know about Alcatraz true? Are the events happening on this island the result of coincidence, or is there an invisible force manipulating everything? Although Alcatraz has been closed and become a famous tourist resort, there are still many people who believe that its deep secrets have not been revealed. One of the strangest things is the silence that covers this island. Even though thousands of people have visited Alcatraz, no one can explain why it feels as if the island is watching you. Strange signals from electronic devices, unexplained signs in photos taken from specific areas of the prison. These are all signs that make people even more curious about what has not been said. The story of Alcatraz never really ends. Its secrets are still intact, hidden in old walls and dark corners where no one dares to set foot. Is everything we know about Alcatraz true? Are the events happening on this island the result of coincidence, or is there an invisible force manipulating everything? One of the most mysterious stories is about a group of tourists visiting in the early 90s. When they boarded the ferry to Alcatraz, everything seemed normal. But when they got to the island and started sightseeing, a few members of the group suddenly disappeared without leaving any trace. The guards and people working on the island searched for hours, but could not find them. Even more terrifying, after these people returned to the mainland, they all had strange signs. Some people couldn't remember what happened during the time they were missing, while others said they felt an invisible presence following them the entire time. The question is, are they just the victims of a cruel joke, or is there something darker, driving these mysterious events? Witnesses to this event all reported that they felt a strong pull, as if an invisible force was pulling them towards forbidden areas of the island, where no one was allowed to go. Such stories are not uncommon, and their very ambiguity makes us even more curious. Alcatraz is not only a cruel prison with dangerous criminals, but it is also an area containing strange, unexplained phenomena. Is there a force still active on this island, even though we have left a long time ago? When Alcatraz was abandoned, no one expected that a place once considered hell on earth would become a tourist treasure, attracting millions of visitors every year. But for those who lived within the walls of this prison, Alcatraz is no ordinary tourist destination. To them, Alcatraz still has an invisible power that makes it impossible for them to escape. Some former prisoners interviewed shared stories that they believed were not a product of their imagination. They talked about nights when they couldn't sleep, about unanswered knocks on the door, and feelings like someone was standing right behind them in the dark. But the strangest thing is that even after leaving Alcatraz a long time ago, those memories still cannot fade. Some former prisoners can't even bear to hear someone mention the name Alcatraz, as if that name has the power to fascinate them, urging them to go back and face the hauntings of the past. One former prisoner shared, "Even after I got out of that prison, Alcatraz continued to pursue me. It never let me go. Every time I closed my eyes, I found myself back inside those walls, seeing the figures following me. It seemed like I was never leaving there." This further increases speculation about whether some invisible power still governs everything on this island, even when it is no longer in use. One of the factors that makes the story of Alcatraz more mysterious is the fire lives that many people have experienced. In some cases, prisoners not only endured the punishment of the law, but also faced something deeper, a punishment from their own souls. Many people have found ways to burn themselves during those days living in hell. Could it be those feelings of despair that created the ghosts that still wander in the dark night? One former prisoner said that he would never forget the feeling of being caught to death in this very space. "It's not that I'm afraid of death. I'm afraid of facing things worse than death, afraid of living within those walls and witnessing lost souls." Another story tells of a prisoner who took his own life in his cell with the last message, "I will never leave this place. These walls have been my home." From these stories, we can't help but wonder if it was these lost souls who created the strange and supernatural phenomena that people have regularly reported over the past decades. Perhaps the souls that were never liberated retained what we call the astral soul of Alcatraz, a place where, to this day, it is still impossible to find complete rest. We may have thought the story of Alcatraz was over, but actually, Alcatraz continues to fascinate us. The story of souls who never rest, mysterious events that cannot be explained, and ghosts lurking between those walls has never ended. Researchers, explorers, and tourists continue to come and explore the island, but do they really understand what is happening at Alcatraz? And perhaps the biggest question we need to ask ourselves is, how many more secrets will Alcatraz keep? Secrets that have never been revealed will forever be hidden behind old walls and endless dark nights. Is Alcatraz really a cursed place? Or are all these mysterious events just a product of human imagination? Anyway, the story of Alcatraz is not over yet, and it will probably be a long time before we can fully understand what has been going on this island. One of the most bizarre things reported by those who have visited Alcatraz is the strange sounds emanating from within the very walls of the prison. Soft knocks, slow footsteps echoing through the empty hallways, sighs that seem to carry deep into the soul. All these sounds make one wonder, could they be the signs of an invisible force, something unseen but undeniably present? These sounds have never been explained, leaving those who hear them to ask, are they a sign of supernatural presence, or just a trick of the human mind? One story is about a group of tourists who visited the island on a foggy evening. As they walked down the hallway, a strange noise suddenly came from behind them, like a soft knock on the metal doors. The group turned around, but saw nothing but darkness. They couldn't explain what had just happened, but some members of the group felt something was amiss, as if someone was watching them from the shadows. One person in the group said they felt a heavy weight on their chest, like some invisible force was pressing down on them. It was a sensation they couldn't shake off, as if a dark presence was surrounding them, and it seemed that each time they approached a specific area on the island, the sound grew louder, no longer faint. Could this be a warning from the spirits trapped inside the notorious prison? One undeniable fact about Alcatraz is that it isn't just a place that can be easily forgotten, even long after one has left it. Those who spent time there, whether as prisoners or guards, all report strange, inexplicable occurrences. Many of them still feel followed by Alcatraz, as if they never really left. One of the most chilling stories is about a guard who worked on the island for many years. After leaving his post, he always felt something strange and eerie when thinking about Alcatraz. One night, while sleeping, he heard footsteps in his room. At first, he thought it was just the sound of a mouse or something small. But when the light flickered out, he felt a presence, something standing right behind him, breathing slowly and heavily. When he woke up, he didn't feel afraid, but the sensation of being followed never left him. Was this a sign of a spirit trapped, unable to escape? Or was it simply the memories of Alcatraz haunting him too deeply to let go? No one can deny that Alcatraz is not just an island, but a space full of mystery, where strange events and lost souls continue to exist. However, with the growing popularity of Alcatraz as a tourist destination, these strange stories have become even harder to believe. But can we really just see Alcatraz as an abandoned island? Or is it truly a place where spirits are still held captive in ways we cannot understand? Though stories about Alcatraz have been woven into countless books, movies, and documentaries, questions about the presence of spirits remain unanswered. And perhaps part of the island's allure is the mystery that cannot be explained, forcing us to ask bigger questions. Could all these events be coincidental, or is there some invisible force pulling the strings? The story of Alcatraz is far from over. The souls that never rest still haunt the dark corners of this place. The strange sounds continue to echo, and shadowy figures still slip through the cold walls of the prison. Alcatraz is not just an island steeped in mystery, but a time machine that holds secrets yet to be revealed. The strange stories continue to draw in explorers and those who seek to uncover its mysteries. They still come, not necessarily to solve the riddle, but to feel the eerie pull that this island has to offer. And perhaps Alcatraz will remain a great mystery, never fully understood, as an integral part of America's bizarre history. Alcatraz is not just an old prison. It is an ongoing story, one where the mystery, the eeriness, and the forgotten souls continue to exist. Are all the strange occurrences simply products of human imagination? Or is there some force at play? And so, the story of Alcatraz continues. It remains an island full of mystery, a place where secrets have never truly been revealed. The story is still unfolding, pulling in anyone brave enough to step into it, seeking the truth they believe exists but will likely never find. So, what do you think about this story? Will the secrets of Alcatraz ever truly be uncovered? Or will we forever live in curiosity, never knowing what really happened on this mysterious island? Thank you all for listening to our story. Please leave a comment to contribute your ideas for further development. And don't forget to give us a channel subscription and a like, so we have the motivation to develop more products.